Today we are going to draw this mountain, and it's actually Bob Ross, the famous artist Bob Ross mountains. Before doing that, we use acrylic. The acrylic, we have a little trick to make the acrylic dry. How to make it that dry is we put the acrylic. It's probably very wet. Now we put on the palette. Now I'm using the paper palette. Um, Expose that to the air and it will dry itself for a while. So it's just before doing this painting, we make it dry first. That way, when we start to use that, everything is done pretty dry. Later, I will show you why it needs to be dried. First of all, we just draw that mountain roughly the major line of the mountain, the horizon, the tree. Yeah, just the one line to show the position. Where is the position? You don't have to draw a lot of things, just to show the position where it is. Yeah, you better to make it natural, not so smooth, because we are drawing nature, right? We need to be natural. And this area is the tree, the top horizon of the trees in the far place. So I make like a wave, kind of wave. Okay, that's another idea to make it natural. So now we need white, blue. We first draw the sky. Before doing that, we get a little water, the pure water on the board, the palette, the not palette, the canvas. So we want it dry slowly because we will draw a cloud on the blue. So first it's darker and gradually working downward to get lighter and lighter. Okay, I mix color on the palette on the canvas. So the canvas you can take a small, bigger, doesn't matter. But if you use bigger canvas, you'd better use bigger brush to do this big area. So first is blue and darker blue and lighter blue mix, and then you use lighter blue, right? It's kind of like getting smoothly getting lighter and lighter. So later you can add a little bit white to it to make it a little bit lighter. Because usually the lower part reflect a little bit warm color, so that's why I'm adding a little bit of white, red, but just a little bit. You can feel that's a little bit reflection. Okay, and make it smooth. I'm doing that, making really smooth the background of the whole sky. The you remember during this part you have to make the top and the bottom gradually changed. That means it's not the same. Okay, if you find it the same, you have to change it to be a little bit darker on top and a little bit lighter on the bottom, and work all the way. Change to the bottom. Okay, let's do cloud. So on the wet surface, before the blue dried, we make the white and lighter blue. Okay, to get the cloud, because we want it to be mixed, blended into the sky. It's like cloud doing that, right? On two part, and you're circling to make the edge curved. You don't want to make it sharp because it usually the cloud is not sharp edges. So keep circling your brush to get the texture of the cloud roughly, and also pay attention to that. Don't do everything regular. That means don't make any of your texture of the sky, of the cloud, same. Nothing the same. Don't do anything same. And also you clustered some of the cloud. Bigger piece on top and smaller piece and about the lower part. Because um, the top is closer to you. The closer, actually, the bigger. Something to consider. That's the rule of painting, of reality. So now it's kind of a use another brush to blend, just get on top. It's not very successful this time because it's not a very, it's too wet um, to blend them. It's a little bit dry, but I still need to be wet to do that. You can tap on that to get the edge very cotton-like. Keep tapping on it with a new brush to do that, and you will see very smooth edges. That's really like the real world, the cloud. So the best result will be the edge very much um, cotton-like blended into the sky. Yeah, now it's pretty good. And on top of that, you can draw more clouds. The one we have done for the clouds, they are far clouds. It's kind of like unclear, not as clear as what we are doing now. It's kind of further, closer. So still not white, purely white. It's kind of like blue and white mix. That kind of way you can actually doing like in harmony with the sky so far. And if you want to get some white cloud standing out, you can do that later. Yeah, it's kind of a different layers. We done the background of the sky and then far cloud we have done, and now we do closer cloud, and also the brighter on top because the less source, the sun, is on top. That's why the higher part of the cloud is brighter. So we get a more of the white color. Yeah, these rules are really useful when I'm telling you that use the closer the larger, and also the top is brighter, so, stuff like that. Pay attention to these rules. Yeah, use the clean brush to do that. Further blend the edges. Finger is very useful to blend things, actually. You can try a little bit, not everywhere, but you can just try. Use finger to blend the edge. And also pay attention in this stage, pay attention your cloud doesn't need to be similar or regular, something, uh, the random the better, the natural cloud should be like that. Yeah, the top is brighter, so you add a little more white. Uh, if you're painting, you can do your sky differently, your cloud differently. It doesn't have to be the same. And the color doesn't have to be the same as long as the rule is right, from darker to lighter. The change is right. The brightness, the levels of the brightness are right. That should be right. So just make the top of the cloud a little brighter, and yeah, the bottom a little bit darker and blending to the sky. That's all what I'm doing. Okay, all right. Actually, this is kind of day is very sunny day, very bright, and that caused the bottom of the cloud actually pretty bright. In a cloudy day, you can probably consider the bottom of the cloud darker, a little bit darker than the surrounding, the background of the sky. But this time we get everything bright, and you will feel it's a very sunny day. The reason is the sunny day can make everything bright, even the bottom, the darker area, a little bit bright. Okay, now use darker blue and black to do the background of the mountain, background color of the mountain. So the edges need to be natural and little bit not too straight. Okay, and that's the top. You just focus on the top for now. And this is a quite a black color, black and darker blue, basically pretty dark. Later we will draw the snow on top based on that. This is the background, and the snow can see the holes see through, and these holes to see this darker color. That's why we draw the darker color first. You can get a little over the tree horizon because you don't want to have a gap there. So the mountain is done, um, basically, and we need to make it dry, and then we can apply that one already dried, the white we used before the painting. We put something dry, right? And this white, you need to get a little bit blue. So see, this is a kind of trick. You can equally get a little bit on the tip, on the edge of the palette knife, and then go this way. If that is very dry, you need to push a little bit harder to make this kind of a texture. See this one and irregular edge on the side. Okay. My white is pretty dry now, so that's why I have to push a little bit harder. If this is not very dry, still pretty wet, you can do this lightly. Uh, Push lightly on your palette knife. Now I need to push hard because um, my white is pretty dry now. See, now you know why it is dry. If not dried, it's so hard to get these holes, this kind of texture. That's why we dry that earlier. Okay. So the answer is revealed, right? You have to dry up some color before this painting. So prepare. It takes quite a while to dry that. If you are eager to use that dried color, you can use a hair dryer to blow that to get it dried quicker. That's another option. Uh, yeah, the top should be brighter to receive the light. Receive the light. You can get more of the white on the tip of the mountain. And keep going. This is a little peak towards towards us. Actually, we are doing that. This side. Yeah, I'm pushing pretty hard now to get the color. It's very dry. And do on that part too. Okay. You can tap on it, just touch it, and get that kind of a. Yeah, remember the direction. Keep doing the direction that way. So that way is usual texture of the mountain snow. Okay, that kind of direction. Not always go downward, perpendicular to the ridge, mountain ridge, but go along the ridge. That's why the wind or the snow goes that way. Okay, get a little bit darker color on the other side. That's dark side, opposite side of the mountain. The snow is the same, but without receiving the sunlight, not as much as the other side. So you have to. Oh, this little piece use white, but the dark side you need use darker blue, a little bit darker blue, and white. So it's still snow, but a little bit darker. The difference should be visible. I mean, on the darker side, the reverse side of the mountain need to be a little bit darker than that. It should be obvious. You can see that's different. That's different. If you see too similar, then you have to change it to make a little bit darker. And if you see the too dark, that not always right either, because in the sunny day, the dark side is pretty bright, pretty bright. Unless you are drawing a cloudy day, on the other side, you can do pretty dark, much more different than the brighter side. So it need to be a little bit darker. In short, it need to be darker and don't do too dark. Yeah, fill a little bit the whole of that block you need the holes, right? Don't get it too big. But these holes really, really like the real thing. You leave these holes because the snow doesn't cover everything, right? So you can see something, the darker inside. The real mountain is like a reality. The real thing is like that. So make it a little bit darker on the side. Yeah, get a little bit darker. And it's visible. I mean, you can see the difference. And you can, I'm actually adding a little bit darkness on the other side. Yeah, it is too dry now. Okay. So the lower part is a little bit darker. Little darker mean the blue, a little bit more blue, and the same color of the snow. Because getting lower, it's kind of further from the sun, and also get some shadow area of the trees. Okay, get natural blend over there. Don't leave an edge, clear edge. Make the border naturally. Yes, just fix the little details. And the bottom, I think the bottom you need to think this way. Um, the foot, mountain foot, you need to do like mist-like color. Okay, use pretty thin white and blue. You just cover that, and you can also see through. It's like mist, fog of the mountain. You can see through. Okay, that kind of sense, and also it's kind of finishing the bottom. And based on that, then you can do um, the closer scene. Okay, now is the trees. Okay, the trees first use green and black. do that. And you pay attention to the top of these trees first, and then we can solve the bottom. We just make the top right. And we actually follow the wave line. Okay, remember the wave line we draw with pencil in the very beginning, and we can do that. Um, and don't care about the bottom of the trees of these trees. Just pay attention to the top. I'll make it the top like a real and also pretty natural going down. Yeah, it's kind of wave line. Okay, overall, the top skyline of this tree top will be the wave, and it is irregular. Irregular. Don't make it irregular again. So make the top like the tree top, right? Okay, that kind of texture. You can add more footer on top to make it natural. Fix that top. Okay, going a little further. And actually the color of the tree further away need to be a little bit lighter. The color must be changed because the distance changed. The appearance will be changed. The color. So now doing on the lake. The lake will be opposite from the sky. It's from lighter to darker. Keep going. Get a little bit darker. And also you need to have make it change, make it a little bit different. Every little distance, you need to make it a little bit darker, different color. You can add green, add darker blue, because the green, the reason of green, because reflection of the surrounding woods. The smoother the better, because that's water. Everything is smooth. That kind of texture. So one picture, if you have something smooth, something rough, that'll be good. So that's variety, make a good nature. I mean, smooth the sky, smooth of the water, but rough the mountain, rough the tree. So you have this difference that makes a picture with good rhythm. If everything rough, that's not in reality. If everything is smooth, That's also hard to have that kind of nature. So that's making a reflection of the trees. So the closer, the darker, the further, the lighter. That's also something changed. Yeah, always consider something changed. I use dry brush to make the edge natural, smoother. So the bush, grass, grassland under the trees. And this bush area, the tree area, you can get upper area brighter and darker at the bottom. Stuff like that. Yeah, the bottom of the bush, the side, and on top is brighter, a little bit brighter. Stuff like that. And that's some kind of soil you can see. And first you make the shadow of the soil on the on the lake. And then on top you draw the soil with the brown, lighter brown. Oh, that's mistake. Something wrong there. Hard to clean. You can get more on top, the soil, lighter. You can probably use brown and white to make that a little bit standing out. Okay, on top, okay, lighter on top, and bottom is the soil. Then you draw some grass to make that a little bit naturally cover the soil, right? The edge need to be naturally covered. Okay, lighter on top, as usual, receive the light, right? So immediately as you're drawing the color difference, you will see the 3D effect getting obvious. So the top is lighter, a little bit more grass on top. You will add a little bit yellow. Okay, on the right side of these trees, a little bit brighter, receive the light. So I do a little bit that. So you will feel 3D trees instead of just the 2D profile of trees. I'm making the 3D sense of trees. First, just draw darker leaves, and then we draw lighter on top. So I usually do diagonally. That makes things natural. So quite thin, going thinner all the way. This is really a closer tree. And the edge need to be natural and rough. So nothing the same. You won't see any same same edge or same leaf, same pattern. So that'll be good way to go. So always fix yourself. If you see anything, you draw similar, so you can do a different shape or group. Make it a little group. And a little bit lighter now. Um, but just a little. Keep it a little, not too many of those dots. Working to the edge. The closer to the edge, the brighter, and the fewer dots. Don't cover out black green, the darker green. Those are the shadow area, this darker green. Okay, draw the trunk. Use pure black to make it a little bit obvious. Okay, the tree is done. And again, doing the darker background first for the bush. We are almost done. Keep just doing these. And the brighter green, receiving the light on the lighter side, on the left side, on top. And this inside here is kind of standing out. And brighter and brighter. Again, need to be irregular, nothing the same. You check yourself. If you do anything same, you make it different. And group something and make something separate. Also, nothing similar. That'll be good. Almost done. So add a little bit tone, a little bit red color, so I feel like some are dry leaves, and the color won't be too mono, only green. You need to get a little bit yellow and red, kind of make the color rich. And going brighter and brighter. And it still leaves some holes. You can still see through these holes, dark background. That's a dark area. The light cannot reach this dark area. Okay, almost there. Okay. Then at the last, we do the ripples, just the white line uh, of the water ripple. Be careful this time. First, you do really, really thin first. I think that'll be better idea. Um, very, very thin. If you're wrong, you can not doesn't affect too much. But be very careful. Everything needs to be horizontal, level. So don't get a little bit lean. It's very hard to get lean. If you cannot do well, you can use rulers to do that. Otherwise, if that's lean a little bit, that'll be wrong. Everything needs to be flat, horizontally. Yeah, almost done that. So, okay, a little bit more touch, and then we are done this painting. Okay, congratulations. We have done this now. And yeah, the reality is better than my recording, actually. The result is better. My camera wasn't very good at that moment. So this is better result. See you soon. Bye.